focus in our development work with India is very much linked to gender issues, or very much centered on gender issues. We regularly meet and consult with representatives from women's rights networks here. And one aspect that I've been keen to promote in the way that we work is that whereas previously, in previous times, the meetings and the focus on gender issues were very much a matter of our development section, now they are also a central concern for our political section and a central concern for our economic and trade section. We very much believe that gender issues are cross-cutting and we should not isolate them into ghettos. Trade and economic concerns are central determinants for the roles that women can play in societies. And so we should be discussing gender when we discuss trade and economics, just as when we discuss politics or development.
Gender equality is a value. It's not a document. It's not in the niche we would have to have it. It has to be in every policy, in every document. It really has to be cross-cutting issue. It cannot be, of course, there are different directives that are very good for women. But let's say recently a new directive on maternity leave was adopted. But it's a wonderful directive because in this directive there is obligatory paternal leave for men. So this also helps to change the culture. It helps to change our tradition and culture when one thinks that only women, it's natural that women are with children. There is nothing natural in changing diapers. Everyone can do it. So it's very important that, you know, some of the directives, even if they are aimed only to women, that they encourage men. And I think what exactly I said, there wouldn't be a progress if we are not equal and if men are not involved.
Friends, women like men have multiple identities. We're not just women. We also belong to a caste, a class, a race, a nationality. So for us, gender cannot be a separate, standalone issue. Gender is related to all these different hierarchies of caste, class, race, north, south. That's why gender equality cannot be achieved, I believe, without dismantling these other hierarchies.
You may know that the MDGs, which were set in 2000, established very limited goals for women and didn't really address gender at all. We are now in the process of measuring achievement against those MDG goals, and we are painfully aware of the limitations of the goals that were set almost 15 years ago. The gravest omission in the MDGs was the absence of a concern for violence against women and girls. And the member states' far-reaching obligations and commitments that were embodied on the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which is CEDAW, and the Beijing Platform for Action were very poorly represented in the MDGs. UN Women's gender equality goal attacks the structural foundations of gender equality. And we have heard about that this morning, especially from Kamala, as she described how this is a multiple and, what's the right word, multi-sectoral form of discrimination. Women experience all different forms of exclusion, including gender, but also caste, ethnicity, religious orientation, disability, sexual identity. So in all of those forms of exclusion, the gender equality goal seeks to address how foundations of patriarchy can be attacked and addressed worldwide.
On the question of my evaluation, I would say a lot has changed. And for me, the biggest form of empowerment is speaking out and speaking up. I think it's a precondition, and I think nothing can change without that. And I can see signs of that happening. So I am actually feeling very positive about that. So I don't think the picture is, you know, as bleak as you might think it is. We have to deal with the media, but I think also the media is also part of the backlash of success. I think women have succeeded, And women are succeeding all the time in every field, including dealing with violence against women. But I also think we're seeing a huge, huge, huge backlash to that.
That women's issues today is not just being looked upon in isolation, but we increasingly do realize that women's issues are at the core of governance issue, and we do realize today that it is becoming more and more of a political agenda to look at women's issues. So the kind of mainstreaming that all these years, we have been talking of, today it's actually not just the center stage of development in terms of governance issues, but also, somewhere, setting the priority for action, across political lines.
I want them to focus not only on the challenges that women face as they become more active in governance and politics. I want them to highlight how women have actually overcome these challenges. So that's also a part of what we're going to discuss.
जो शुरुआत उन्हें घर से मिलनी चाहिए वो एक्चुअल में नहीं मिलती, क्योंकि लड़के और लड़कियों में बहुत फ़र्क किया जाता है आज भी। लड़कियों को जहाँ बंद करके रखा जाता है, उन्हें आज़ादी नहीं होती, और लड़कों को पूरा फ्रीडम होता है, तो वो फ्रीडम का इस्तेमाल वो ऐसे ही क्राइम में भी करते हैं कि उन्हें लगता है कि सब कुछ उन्हीं की मर्ज़ी से चलना चाहिए। तो वही चीज़ वहाँ होती है, अगर वो फैमिली से शुरुआत हो कि जो गलत है उसको रोका जाए और जो सही है उन्हें कर देना चाहिए, चाहे वो लड़की हो या लड़का हो, और वो समझ घर से ही नहीं मिलती।
It's important to understand that as a community itself, there are groups of people who are exploited anyway. Men, women, children, everybody. And in that, particularly when we speak about the scheduled caste women or the lower caste women or the erstwhile untouchable women, clearly there is intersections based on patriarchy and gender-based violence, and on the other hand, the caste, the structure of caste and untouchability, social segregation, and various forms of heinous crimes against Dalit women, which are very peculiar forms. So yes, I mean, I think it's, as you said earlier, it's a double-edged sort of situation that we are dealing with on an everyday basis.